Yo, 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 welcome into the Skew Zone, week 16 of the NFL season. I'm your host, Tampa Tones. We got a slate of 3 Saturday games. Also, Merry Christmas. I hope everybody had a great Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Now we are here, and we're ready for this Bucks matchup. We're ready for this Arizona San Fran matchup. We're ready for this Raiders Dolphins matchup. We got a great slate of Saturday football, followed by a pretty good NFL Sunday slate as well, and a Monday night game, which should be interesting too. Fantasy football championship weekend for many. Some have it next weekend, some had it last weekend, but I'd say 80 to 90% of fantasy leagues have it this weekend. Let's waste no time today. We're going to answer questions right off the bat. The first one coming in from Joseph Ariola. Kickers matter. Yes, they do. I'm glad you say that because I hate when fantasy leagues get ahead of themselves and try and take kickers out of the game. Kickers are such an important facet in football. They're such an important part of the NFL. But yes, thank you for Kickers Matter. Pride would be happy if Pride were here right now. He'll be on tomorrow in our normal slot because once again, this is a Skew Zone, just doing it different, doing it more of a fantasy Q&A and help. But if Pride was here right now, he'd be loving that Kickers Matter. Pick 2, Heinz, Hawkinson, AJ Green, no PPR. To me, Nyheim Hines is a no-brainer. He's really stepped it up for the Colts in the second half of the season. He's a little boomer bust, sure, but I think Hines is still the safest out of these guys, especially in non-PPR. If it's PPR, Hawkinson might be your guy, but since it's non-PPR, I'm always a big fan of the running backs, and Nyheim Hines still gets carries out of the backfield. I know Jonathan Taylor's been running pretty well, but the Colts seem to still involve Hines at a high clip out of the backfield as we look at his last week numbers here. He's had 5 carries for 43 yards, so he was successful on the ground. The week before, 7 carries for 58 yards, successful on the ground. If he starts catching more passes out of that backfield like we've seen him do, he's caught 8 twice this year. He's caught 5 a couple times this year. The past 2 games, only 6 combined, but he's running the ball pretty good for Hines' standards. It would just be nice to see him get in the end zone like he did in week 13, week 10, etc. But I like Hines. And then you look at it like this, Hawkinson's facing a tough Buccaneers defense, and you look at A.J. Green matchup. First off, A.J. Green is already at a disadvantage with his quarterback, though. He hasn't been the same since week 1 this year, but especially since Joe Burrows went down, he hasn't looked great. He's facing a very favorable Houston secondary, though. Vernon Hargraves, if he's a lead man in any secondary, they're probably in some trouble, getting in a little bit of trouble. That's a tough one. Hawkinson's floor is probably higher, but I'd say Green's ceiling is higher. So I'd say if you're feeling risky, I'd go Green. If you want more content, I'd go Hawkinson because I think Hawkinson's more consistent. His floor is higher, but Green probably has the potential to get more points scored. So, yeah, that's a tough one. Hawkinson is facing a tough linebacker corpse as well with Devin White and Levante David. So that'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. This game is at noon Central, by the way. We're going to go over the slate in a little bit, but that's a good question. At the end of the day, probably Hines and Hawkinson, unless you're feeling risky. Then maybe sneak Green in there. But other than that, we got a great slate of games today for week 16 in the NFL season. Of course, yeah, once again, it was no PPR from Joe Ariola. So thanks again for the question. Keep the questions coming. Everybody, NFL week 16 kickoff show. I know there was a game yesterday and we didn't get a chance to talk before that, but with the holidays and Christmas, everybody's celebrating. I decided to move Wednesday show to today, this morning. So very excited to be here with you all for Saturday before my Buccaneers take on the Lions. And then at 3:30, that one's on NFL Network at 12 Central. Then at 3:30 Central on Amazon Prime or Twitch, I guess they're trying new things here. 49ers at Cardinals, and this game has big playoff implications in the NFC. As Chicago Bears fans will be rooting heavily for the 49ers in this one because if the Cardinals lose this game, and if the Bears beat the Jaguars tomorrow, there is a very, very realistic shot for the Chicago Bears to make the playoffs. This game, means a lot for the Bears, and then the nightcap means a lot for the AFC Colts as they're battling it out with the Dolphins, and they could use some help from John Gruden and the Raiders and the Raiders just need to win. They've looked a little down in the dumps lately, but they could easily pick that up with the night game against the Dolphins on NFL Network, 7:15 Central. So pretty fun slate of Saturday games. Once again, there were 2 last week, 3 this week, 5 combined. I love Saturday football. Then we'll just get a preview, a look around the NFL tomorrow. We got a big game at noon for both the NFC and AFC playoff implications. We got Giants, Ravens at noon. Then we have Falcons, Chiefs at noon. That could get ugly. I think the Chiefs might run away with this one. Then this one might have the smells of a trap game behind it. Browns, Jets at noon. That'll be interesting to see if the Jets are going to continue to cost themselves the number 1 overall pick, or if the Browns show up and continue their upward success towards the playoffs. Then we got the Bears, Jaguars at noon as well. Bears are hoping to win that one, obviously. So we'll see. We'll see how that one goes. And then after that, we got Bengals Texans. That's kind of a meaningless little bit of a football game right there. Nothing too crazy in that one. I don't know. I predict the Texans to win that one pretty handedly, even if they are shorthanded. Then we got the big boy of the nooners, the noon of all noon. We got Colts, Pittsburgh. This game perhaps is, could be near clinching for the Colts in many ways. So that's very interesting. The Steelers have lost 3 in a row now. Anything can happen in this one. Colts almost beat them last year with Brian Hoyer, so I think their chances increase a little bit this year, obviously, with Phillip Rivers over Brian Hoyer. So that's pretty cool to see that game happening at noon. I'm glad the Bucs don't play at noon, so I could watch that game. I'll probably have my eyes on Bears, Jaguars, just to see what's that going to shake out like, how that disrupts the NFC playoff picture. Especially if Arizona loses today, I'll have that Bears game on. And then Giants Ravens is looking like the other game at noon to watch. And we dip into the 3:00 games. We have a doozy. Rams Seahawks. That is a battle. That's going to be a hell of a game. That's at 3:25. Then we have another game of importance. Eagles Cowboys, 3:25. And then we have 2 other games, Broncos, Chargers, kind of meh. But then Panthers at Washington football team. So this game's important. If Washington goes down, the winner of that Eagles-Cowboys game is right back in it. Say if the Giants lose to the Ravens, it could very well happen. And if Washington loses at Carolina, Carolina's going to want to play tough against their former coach. Giants or Cowboys are right back in it all of a sudden. We got more questions pouring in here. How we doing, Luscious Varanus 44? How are we? Need 1 wide receiver, Godwin, Metcalf, Davis. I'm going probably not Gabriel Davis. I'm thinking Corey Davis. Need 1 tight end. I'm going to guess Mark Andrews and Logan Thomas. Only reason I ask about the tight end is McLaurin is doubtful. Thanks in advance. Thank you for the question, man. Hope your holiday season's going great. So this is a tough 2-sided question because you got 3 good wide receivers if you do assume it's Corey Davis. And who would have thought at year's beginning that Corey Davis would be lumped, and appropriately so, in a question with Metcalf and Godwin. So we'll dig into that one second, because I'm going to go into the Andrews and Thomas one here real quick. Logan Thomas has been a guy who guys can rely on, fantasy tight ends, not a lot out there in the bank, but the past couple weeks, especially 3 of the past 4 weeks, he's been coming on very strong. Week 12 at Dallas, 4 catches, 20 yards and a touchdown. Week 13, 9 for 98 and a touchdown. Week 14, he had 6 grabs, only 43 yards, but still 6 grabs, a lot of potential. Last week, 13 for 101. So Logan Thomas is being used heavily the past 4 weeks, and that's with either Haskins or Alex Smith at quarterback. And obviously the Washington football team has used 3 quarterbacks this year as their quarterback carousel can't seem to stay healthy between Alex Smith, Haskins, and Kyle Allen. But it said Smith was a full participant in Friday's practice and is listed as questionable for the game. Either way, I know Andrews has been doing pretty well lately too, but with McLaurin is doubtful. I really do like Logan Thomas here. If McLaurin can't go, Logan Thomas has been on the up and up, and then it's going to be the Logan Thomas show. Whereas Baltimore, they like to run the ball. They're a run-first team, so if they get going on the ground, that could really take away from the passing game. And Mark Andrews, although he's had 3 rather moderate games in a row, there's been times this year 2.9, 2.2, 2.1, 3.2, 2.2. Those have all been Mark Andrews' point totals at points and times this year. So I'm not really trusting Mark Andrews on a week-to-week basis, and the fact that he's had some nice weeks in a row and now he's going up against the Giants, who are really good at defending tight ends, actually. They're right above league average. So I don't like Mark Andrews over Logan Thomas. I'm going to go Logan Thomas there, especially with McLaurin doubtful. And then Godwin, Metcalf, Davis. This is a matchups-based question, perhaps. And you look, Metcalf is facing a very tough Rams team. You never know if Jalen Ramsey's going to be on him. And then Corey Davis, although he's had a really good year, he's still kind of one. And that, once again, that's me assuming it's Corey Davis instead of Gabriel Davis. But Corey Davis, he had a big week last week, 4 for 110 and a touchdown. But the week before that, 3 for 34. Week before that, he had a huge week. Week before that, nothing. Inconsistent. I don't think Corey Davis does much at Green Bay this week. I'm going Chris Godwin against the sappy Detroit defense, one that really has nothing to play for, while Godwin is a free agent next year, trying to earn that big payday. I think his play is going to continue to get better. We've seen him sputter into the end zone last week. So thanks for that question. I'm going with Chris Godwin and Logan Thomas. I hope those help you win your fantasy week, my man. Luscious 44. Now we got another one. Grant Bow. Good morning, Grant. How we doing on this fine NFL Saturday? Pick 2, Tannehill, Brady, Ryan. And pick 2, Chris Carson, Fournette, Tony Pollard. Pick 1, Cole Beasley, T.Y. Hilton, Hollywood Brown. Pick 1, Eric Ebron, Dalton, Schultz, full PPR. Hold on. Let me get a sip of coffee for this barn burner. Brought to you by my lovely Donner Cup. Wow. This is a tough one. And then Grant Bow also adds, currently have Brady and Tannehill at QB, Henry, Carson at running back, Tyreek and Beasley at wide receiver, Ebron, tight end, Fournette flex, Dolphins defense, Lutz at kicker. Well, Bo, we'll find out here shortly, Mr. Bo, how I align with your picks. Pick 2, I would go Brady against his porous Detroit defense for sure. I think Brady's fired up. I just seen an article the other day still doubting Tom Brady. And, Brady's reading that, looking to get back on his feet during prime time. This is pretty much a primetime game. Hasn't done too great this year. Smells blood in the water. The Buccaneers could clinch today for the first time in 13 years, and Tom Brady knows that. It'd be nuts to not start Tom Brady today. And then I'm going to start Matt Ryan. I like Matt Ryan over Ryan Tannehill. I think Tennessee's going to have to do a lot of running against Green Bay. I don't think they're going to be able to pass. Like Green Bay, I know their pass defense has been a little rough at times this year, but I like Green Bay at home tomorrow. It's going to be a close one. It's going to be a very cold game. I think Tennessee's going to have to rely on Derrick Henry, whereas Matt Ryan is at Kansas City. I think that they're going to fall behind quickly, and I think Matt Ryan's just going to have to air it out for them to have any chance at staying in that one. I'm going with the NFC South quarterbacks there, Brady and Ryan, and then 2 out of Carson, Fournette, and Pollard. Well, I think Chris Carson, you really do have to start pretty much week in and week out. He's a running back 1. He's going to be a first-round pick moving forward in fantasy on a consistent basis. He's had some injury problems this year. He's had some problems staying healthy. But I do like him. I like his chances against the Rams. I think although Rams have a good front 7, I think that Carson will get in the red zone, either receiving or rushing, as he does at both. He does have 4 receiving touchdowns this year, and he does have 4 or 5 rushing touchdowns, I believe. So he gets in both varieties. I think he's the most consistent out of those. Although Tony Pollard has looked great when Ezekiel Elliott hasn't been able to play, Tony Pollard really has shown signs of life, such as last week, 2 touchdowns for 70 yards on the ground. So that's really something. I think Dallas does like Pollard a lot because even when Elliott plays, it seems like they've been trying to get Tony Pollard in a little bit. For those that don't know, Ezekiel Elliott is listed as questionable. This game is a must-win for the Cowboys, so I think they're probably going to have Elliott gear up and go. with that being said, I'm going Chris Carson and Leonard Fournette. Lenny F last week didn't have a huge yard per carry game, as it was right around 3.5, I believe, but he did have 2 touchdowns and he did have 3 receptions too. So in full point PPR, he had 18.5 point, or even more than that, 21.5 points in full point PPR last week without Ronald Jones this week. I just really like Leonard Fournette here. So I'm going Carson and Fournette. Then pick one: Cole Beasley, T.Y. Hilton, Hollywood Brown. This is a tough one. It depends, obviously. Diggs is a little banged up, but it seems like Diggs is gearing up to play. He's healthy. He got ruled as a full participant in Friday's practice. So I'm going with T.Y. Hilton. I think T.Y. Hilton's been incredible lately. T.Y. Hilton's done a lot of good out of that Colts passing game, especially as of late. He's been one of the hottest fantasy football wide receivers as of late. Last week, he didn't get into the end zone, but I think Colts are going to have to pass the ball against Pittsburgh. I'm going T.Y. Hilton there. And then pick one: Ebron or Dalton Schultz. It's just hard for me to trust Eric Ebron right now with this Pittsburgh pass attack. I know he got hurt last week, so not all his fault there. But I don't know. I just don't trust Eric Ebron, because even before last week, now he hasn't been in the end zone in 4 straight weeks. That's a concern. Ebron's one of the guys who lives based on the tight end, at least at this point in time with the Steelers. Dalton Schultz did get in the end zone last week. And against Philly, a Philly defense that has looked bleak at times, I like his chances more. So I'm going with Brady Ryan, Carson Fournette, T.Y. Hilton, and Dalton Schultz. Let's see how I compare. He went with Brady and Tannehill. Wanted to Henry. I didn't realize you had Henry at running. Oh, you wanted one for the flex, so that makes sense. So I picked Chris Carson and Leonard Fournette. So 2 for 2 in that portion. And then wide receiver, you went Beasley. I went Hilton, and tight ends we differed. But shooting 500 there. Best of luck, Grandpa. Hope it works out for you. The chosen rows. How we doing the chosen rows? Jeff Wilson or James Robinson? And then also Cole Kmet, Janu Smith, or Tyler Higbee. Thanks for the question, the chosen rows. I feel Higbee is safer, he adds. Well, Higbee probably is the safest of the choices, as Janu Smith has just been up and down with consistency and his injuries that have pegged him a couple times here and there. I don't know. Now it's been 4 weeks, barring injuries and whatnot, that he just hasn't had production at all, Janu Smith. So he's hard to trust at this point in time. And although Cole Kmet's playing time is on the up and up, you just never know with that Bears passing game. Like, he hasn't been in the end zone in a few weeks now. I'm going with Higbee. It seems like Higbee's the most likely out of the group to get into the end zone for that Rams team, as he has had a 3-touchdown game this year. I know it was much earlier in the year, but even last week, or 2 of the past 3 weeks, Tyler Higbee does have touchdowns. So I'm going with Higbee. Seattle's pass defense hasn't been very good this year either. I like Higbee out of that group a lot. Then Jeff Wilson or James Robinson. To me, that is kind of an easy one, but the thing that makes it tricky is James Robinson's usage, because Jacksonville has kind of been hesitant on their availability with Robinson, and now they're saying he has a bum ankle, blah, blah, blah. So for that matter only, and the fact of the matter that you can't trust Doug Marrone and what the hell he's doing with his team, I think Jeff Wilson is a start here today. I think you got to start Jeff Wilson. He's been performing well over the past couple of games, scoring touchdowns at a high clip. Mostert's on IR. I'm going with Jeff Wilson. And it's funny because Robinson would be the no doubt about it, the no-brainer here. But with Mostert landing on IR, with McKinnon virtually getting nothing as of late, I'm going with Jeff Wilson. I'm going with Tyler Higbee. The chosen rows, I hope I bring you fantasy success today. And once again, guys, we're on for about 10 more minutes here for the Skew Zone. Get your questions in. Get your questions pumping. A little short guy today. We got 10.5 minutes left of the Skew Zone half-hour special holiday edition episode on this beautiful Saturday with 3 glorious football games on. We did have one yesterday as well where Alvin Kamara set records, man. If you had Alvin Kamara yesterday, You're looking really, really if you had Alvin Kamara and you somehow lose, I feel really bad for you. You might have to hang up the fantasy football cleats. Alvin Kamara had a whopping 53.2 points in non-PPR formats. That would have equated to 56.2 in full-point PPR formats. 6 touchdowns, 155 rushing yards, 17 receiving yards. I mean, my Lord, my heavens, that's an incredible day for anybody. But on Christmas, it was a Christmas miracle for fantasy owners, and it led the Saints to a 52-33 division winning clinch and eliminating playoff contention over the Minnesota Vikings. So the Vikings are sent packing, and the Saints officially locked in the NFC South. So that was interesting. Another question from our man Monir. And how we doing? Pick a full flex PPR, flex full point PPR, Kittle, Drake, or Godwin? This is a good question. And all guys that are involved today, Kittle is healthy. He got deemed healthy. It's his first game back in forever. But the quarterback situation there, you're really unsure of what Beathard or, who's going to be playing or what's going to be happening. Kenyon Drake, on the other hand, he's sharing carries, and last week he only had 10 for 26. I know it was a tough game last week, but to me, their ground game success runs on Kyler Murray. So I'd go Chris Godwin in a full-point PPR against this defense of Detroit that hasn't been very good in the past. Godwin had a touchdown last week. Tom Brady likes to spread the ball around. The Lions defense is very vulnerable. Godwin warrants very good wide receiver 2 rankings, in my opinion, today. Have faith in Chris Godwin. Have faith in Tom Brady. The Bucs are looking to clinch the playoffs for the first time. I don't think Kenyon Drake does much against the 49ers team today, and I think Kittle has a hard time getting going back from injury. I'd go with Chris Godwin. Thanks for the question, Monair. Hope that works out. Joseph back with another one. Badgley or Blankenship playing this guy who can't read, so I can't lose. Yes. Yeah, you can't lose to a guy who can't read. I guess that wouldn't be a good look. And I hate those fantasy schmucks. I hope he's not one of those guys who just sits at the table on draft day and he thinks he's a know-it-all, that SOB. But good luck today in your championship, if you're playing in the championship, Joseph. But I'm going with Rodrigo Blankenship, the Money Badger, or the self-proclaimed Money Badger, Badgley, has not been trustable since he gave himself that nickname. And Rodrigo Blankenship is out here having a hell of a rookie season, in part so celebrating birthdays with Ric Flair and having a good old time. He's having fun out there as a rookie. Badgley went 1 for 3 of field goals last week. 2 weeks ago, he went 0 for 2. Against Raiders, he missed one. Against Jacksonville, he missed one. New Orleans, he missed one. Tampa, he missed one. Week 1, he has missed one this year. This guy is just full of misses. And he has a division game. If they were in Denver, it might be a little different, as he would have gotten that mile high help, the atmosphere help. But Blankenship, I like him a lot this week. I like him week in and week out, but this week a lot. He's the 4th best kicker in fantasy. He has 9.7 points per game. He's at Pittsburgh this week, so Pittsburgh's bend but don't break. So Colts might have to settle for a lot of field goals in a tough game. And Rodrigo Blankenship, the past couple of weeks, has been tremendous. Week 13 against Houston, had a 40-yard field goal with 3 extra points. Week 14, he was 3 for 3 of field goals with 5 extra points. Last week, 2 for 2 in field goals with 3 extra points. Go beat the guy who can't read and start Rodrigo Blankenship, the man who's going to Ric Flair birthday parties. God bless that guy. And kickers do matter. I'm happy we're getting kicker questions. Thanks, Joseph. Monair N. Hurts or Rodgers? I know Hurts looks like one of those options that is perhaps a must-start due to his ground game especially, and he had 38.2 points last week. And now he's at a vulnerable Dallas secondary. But in my personal opinion, I would just not sleep well at night if I did not start Aaron Rodgers and I lost a fantasy game. If you start Jalen Hurts and he flops and Aaron Rodgers goes off, you're going to be like, did I really just not start Aaron Rodgers? But if you start Aaron Rodgers and he doesn't do well, I don't think you're going to lose too much sleep over it. Besides last week, and Aaron Rodgers still had a rushing touchdown last week, still damn near at 20 points, didn't turn the ball over. The week before that, he had 31. Week before that, 24. Week before that, 24. Like, this guy's had an incredible year, and it's helped him become the 6th-ranked fantasy football quarterback in this league I am in, at least for a reason. So I'm going with Aaron Rodgers over Jalen Hurts. I mean, Jalen Hurts has had 68 and 115 yards on the ground, something like that, I believe. So he's very much so been a threat on the ground. I don't know. Rookies are tough to read. Mike McCarthy is this Dallas team playing very good football. I think Dallas comes with the game plan. I think they're going to come fired up. I'd probably go with Aaron Rodgers, who's facing a vulnerable Tennessee Titans defense at home. Thank you, Monaran, for the question. That was a tough one, though. Quarterback questions are always of the tougher variety of sorts. Guys, we got about 2.5 more minutes left here, or a couple more than that, like 3.5 minutes left here. Get your questions in, get your late-minute fantasy needs and advice answered. And I'm going to give my game day predictions quick just in case we don't get any more questions. I'm going to give some Saturday score predictions. And we'll see how those look after today. Dolphins Raiders tonight, 7:15 on the NFL Network. Once again, I'm going to go with the Raiders in a close one. I'm going to go Raiders 27, Dolphins 24. I think the Raiders sneak by with this one. John Gruden's really good at playing around the holidays season for whatever reason. So I think the Raiders escape with the victory here. I like their chances over the Dolphins in a close one. And then on Amazon Prime and on Twitch now too, I guess. So on both Twitch and Amazon Prime, we have 49ers, Cardinals, George Kittle's back. However, I don't think George Kittle being back does enough to help take down the Cardinals, although I think Cliff Kingsbury is kind of meh. I think Cardinals win this one in a higher scoring affair. I think they win 34-27. I think Cardinals win a tough one, close fought battle. And then we have Bucks Lions, potential clincher for the Bucks. Haven't seen the playoffs in 13 seasons now. Tom Brady's in town. Tampa Bay Lions coaches have had some COVID issues, have had some COVID problems. Hopefully they get better. Obviously, not ideal to see anyone with COVID. Prayers out to them. I'm going with the Buccaneers by 17 points here. I'm going to go 38-21, Buccaneers victory. I think Stafford does what he does best, get some garbage time touchdowns. I feel confident, but the Bucs have to come out playing their football, man. We can't have the same old shit they've been pulling. Last week against Atlanta, came out slow, boom, ended up second half. They look like a new team. We can't do that because come playoff time, that's not going to fly. Some fantasy guys I do like today that may be flying under the radar. Once again, for you guys that don't know, Ronald Jones is out today, so go out and get Leonard Fournette if you guys, if he's available in your guys' league, perhaps. I know he's up to 87% owned, so probably unlikely, but that's still 13% of leagues that Lenny F is available in. Go out and check him out. And then on the in the other games, Kittle's coming back, and Jeff Wilson is obviously now the mainstay with Mostert out. So go get Jeff Wilson. I believe he's only owning about 57% of, or no, 54.3 of ESPN leagues. The starting running back is owned in that little of leagues. That's pretty amazing. I'm not quite sure why he is available in that many leagues, especially for a running back with his potential. So go out and get those two guys. And then in the night game, if you want a fantasy guy, if you're looking to have some fun in the Raiders Dolphins matchup, honestly, this is a tough one because I don't know, but I'm going with a guy in the Raiders. I'm going with their kicker. He's been the 4th-ranked kicker this year. I think his kicker success continues tonight. I'm going Daniel Carlson. He's ranked 4. He is 9.7. We have one last question coming in right before we log off in our short Skew Zone half-hour lovely little segment today. Get your questions in before we log off, guys, or they will not be answered. Clamped easy. How we doing, my mans? Tanyan or Ingram? That's a tough one. Tanyan's been a touchdown machine, and Ingram's a Pro Bowler who's actually having some decent numbers for his career this year. Tanyan's been a good little asset for the Packers, though. He scored last week against Carolina. He scored the week before that, the week before that, the week before that, and the week before that. This guy had a 3-touchdown game earlier this year as well. He's ranked third, 8.2 points per game. I just like him a lot more than Evan Ingram, although Ingram is getting catches and perhaps yards here and there. He's not getting touchdowns. I think Ingram only has 2 or 3 touchdowns this year compared to Tanyan's 3 in one game. So, Tanyan's just a goal line threat. Yeah, Ingram actually only has 1 receiving and 1 rushing touchdown this year. So I fully endorse Robert Tonyan. Thanks for the question, Clamped Easy. We got another late one coming in from our mans, Monair and Zerline or Carlson. Rams or Browns defense. I'm going Carlson. Great kicker, right? 4th-ranked kicker. Zerline has missed a lot of kicks this year, although he's making a lot of money. Little inconsistent, and he can make the deep kicks. But, yeah, last week he missed 1. In Week 13 he missed 3. He's just been missing as of late. I'm going Carlson. And then Rams or Browns defense. I think Browns defense has a much easier matchup this week for sure. Rams face Seattle. Russell Wilson's always a tough one. Browns got the Jets this week, man. I think the Jets might play a close game, maybe even win a trap game. But I think Browns defense is at least going to get a couple sacks and a turnover on these Jets. Guys, that seems to be it for the questions. I said 9:45 to 10:15. Well, now we went to 10:17. It's a great time, as always. I hope you guys have enjoyed your holiday season. Merry Christmas. I know a lot of parties still happening today. It's only the 26th. It's been incredible. Great 3 days of football coming up with Saturday, Sunday, and then, of course, the last Monday night football game of the year as well. Hope you guys either win your fantasy semifinals, your fantasy championships today, or if you're still activating for High Point, 3rd place, 4th place, 5th place, whatever it may be. I hope you guys win as much money as possible. I'm Tampa Tones. We'll be alongside Pride tomorrow for the fantasy football kickoff show, Week 16. But this is the Saturday kickoff show. Thanks so much, guys. Hope you guys have a great day. Enjoy. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Thanks again.